Hello everybody, so this video is entitled MSTR Stock Final Stretch to Stretch 100. This is when we are going to unlock a tsunami of money for Sailor as he is able to ATM to great demand stretch whenever stretch gets past 100. That is the playbook. We have been in a valley of despair. All we do right now is wait. There is not much happening in the markets right now. Volumes are low across the board. You know, Christmas in the middle of the week probably didn't help this trading week. Tax loss selling begins, and of course these are the 4 days where a lot of people are taking their losses for the year and moving on, and I assume this is going on, you know, full swing for strategy right now. We're at 158, we're essentially at a 52-week low. People who bought at 300, many people moving on, as I've called before, the tourists, as I've called them before, the tourists are moving on. Of course, on this channel, we've been discussing this stock since 2023. So this is an older holdings for us, and certainly I am not selling my MSTR. I'm more of a believer than ever in the stock. But it's a valley of despair and people lose interest. Note, though, that MSTR has not performed well. None of the DATs have performed well. That's because Bitcoin has been extremely disappointing. You know, 88,000, 86,000, 87. I listen to a lot of, pure play crypto podcasts, pure play Bitcoin podcasts. You know, whenever you have a new interviewee right now, they begin by saying, oh, I was entirely wrong. I listened to a podcast earlier today. The person interviewed was predicting 400,000 by now. And you had so many people predicting close to 200, between 150 and 200, right? Even the average analyst on a strategy stock at something like 158,000 price target for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is essentially down 45% compared to where most analysts, most pundits thought Bitcoin was going to be, because the thunder of Bitcoin has been stolen by precious metals. Somehow the market got enamored with precious metals. Gold up 70%, silver up 113%. But as I showed you in my last video, if you go back the past 10 years, the past 15 years, these have done nothing. And, you know, in my view, someone would have a very hard time arguing you're not chasing if you buy here. Whoever is buying at $71 an ounce for silver is definitely, in my view, chasing. I mean, this is crazy. It's doubled in no time. And of course, if we follow Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, by the way, is down, about 15% from a year ago. So these assets, especially silver, but gold also performing really, really well. Outstanding performance. But, you know, as we know in all of the Bitcoin books that we've read, right, it's like you can print more gold, you can print more silver, you find more of it, right? And how do you find more of it? Well, by simply doing more digging, more mining, right? Both of these metals are mined, and you can find more of it as the price goes up. As the price goes up, older mines that were not profitable come back online, they become profitable again, and you get more and more of these metals out of the ground. And that's the problem over the long run. That is the problem over the long run. So gold and silver, make no mistake, it's better than fiat. Why is it better than fiat? Because you still have hard physical work required. They're still somewhat controlled by the laws of physics in that you have to work hard and get them out of the ground. But they're still unlimited. There's still an unlimited supply on them. And as Sailor always says, you know, a half-life of gold, in the best case scenario, half-life of gold is about 50 years. And that's like the very good years for gold is when you only have 2% gold inflation, and so that creates a half-life of 50 years. And of course, Bitcoin has no such thing. Bitcoin is deflationary, it's been capped at 21 million, and when we update the protocol to a quantum proof protocol, it's going to be even better, because we're probably going to take out something like 5 million Bitcoins out of circulation. This is something that definitely doesn't happen for gold. And for silver, to me, if I look at this price action, to me, that's chasing. That's what it is to me. And of course, Sailor is focused on stretch. It's the final stretch for stretch. Come January 1st, we will likely get an announcement where the dividend yield, the current 10.75% dividend yield, may, and I say may, not sure, but may be increased to 11%. If he increases it to 11%, the delta between the 1 month treasury and stretch will widen again. And the only way for that effective yield to drop, the only way for the difference between the 1 month treasury yield and stretch to drop is for the price to go back to 100. Saylor can force it to go to 100 by increasing the dividend. Saylor talking about getting a higher yield for Christmas today on X. Talking about the yield being a gift, talking about, of course, advertising. There's a lot of advertising going on for Stretch, trying to promote this product, but it's going to take years. As Fongli has said before, in 2021, they thought everybody would copy strategy. Nobody copied strategy. And they started copying strategy in 2025. And so right now, nobody's copying strategy for this, but maybe in 26, maybe in 27, people will start copying strategy for this and created these assets that, have a very special yield at let's call it 11%. Let's round it up to 11%, especially if we get a hike. That's an 11% tax deferred yield. 1 month treasury, the US 1 month treasury, that's not tax deferred. You got to pay tax on that. You have to pay tax on that, but that's only after you recoup your initial investment, which in this case would be about 9 years. So the difference is even greater as people get acquainted with the tax treatment of these dividends. I really think this is the iPhone moment for strategy. They found the ideal product. We just need the market to get better. We need the tax loss harvesting to stop. We need Bitcoin to recover, which it inevitably will, because this is very reminiscent of it's way overbought, I guess. I'm not a technical analysis, but you can tell it's way overbought. It's been up only. At some point, assets mean revert. These assets will mean revert, and Bitcoin will also mean revert to a higher level, in my view. And that's when the world will start to notice the black hole that these instruments are when unleashed in the credit markets. And so I'm as bullish as ever on Stretch. Quick note on the channel. I might not make a video tomorrow because I am traveling, heading back to France for a few days. So I am traveling, probably not a video tomorrow. But anyways, I wish you all a great winter vacation, and I'll be back either on Sunday or on Monday. This was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. Hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.